This programme was made with support from the National Lottery Heritage Fund. On the Heritage Channel tonight, the secret history of Weelsby Woods, our ancestry through DNA testing, and retired trawlerman Martin Grant joins the Heritage Channel team. Welcome to the Heritage Channel, where we explore the fascinating history of North East Lincolnshire in a monthly roundup of news, views and local stories. Festival of the Sea returns to Grimsby for a third consecutive year on Saturday the 15th of July, celebrating the rich heritage of our coastal community. This multi-art form festival will take place across several locations in the town centre of Grimsby and on the waterfront by the Fishing Heritage Centre, where you can enjoy vibrant street theatre, live music and dance from talented local artists. There'll be lots of activities for young people, families and friends to discover more about Grimsby's heritage. Grab a bite to eat from food stalls and explore our current connections to the new industries of the North Sea, home to the largest offshore wind farm in the world. What can our DNA tell us about our own origins and the rich heritage of our local community? Local heritage organisation The Equality Practice aims to find out in a recent experiment.
I am Grimsby born and bred, but when I look back at the family, my granddad was from Kent originally, and funnily enough he came here and played for Grimsby Town.
I'm British. Well, I think I am. My dad's family are from London, they're Londoners. Don't know if there's any people abroad, but my mum's side there could be somebody in Scotland or Canada.
I'm certainly born and bred, white British. But I understand I might have some Scottish ancestry, and I'm looking forward to finding out what might be said.
I believe myself to be white British, born and bred in Grimsby, so I'm hoping that there's some real exoticness in my results.
I consider myself a local guy myself. I think there's a little bit of diversity from my grandfather's side. I think he come from the northeast of England.
I consider myself mostly British. My parents were born in Grimsby, but I know some of my older relatives were from Ireland.
I know that my recent family is all from Grimsby and Cleethorpes. I believe some of my background is Irish because I had a great-great-grandfather who came from Donegal, I think.
May have some traces from kind of Anglo-Saxon origin, that's my kind of feel, but apart from that I have no idea.
I'd really quite like to come from like a Scandinavian kind of place, I don't know. I just like the thought of it from being there.
I've always wanted to be a proper Viking.
I'd love to be Italian or Spanish or French. We have olive skin, so I'm hoping.
I think going through the history and family, yeah, we're predominantly from the UK, so it's or English.
I don't think I've been this excited ever about something, you know, that's so complicated in so many ways, and I know over the years there's so much intolerance to different ethnic groups and cultures. I've always been open to them. I've always loved everything. And whatever I find out today, if there's one glimmer of hope that I've got something other than, you know, just Viking in me or whatever, I'm going wherever it is.
I'm not exotic.
92% Great Britain, 4% Norway, 4% Ireland and Scotland.
89% Chinese. 89% Great Britain and North West Europe and 11% Ireland and Scotland.
54% Great Britain and North Western Europe, 44% Ireland and Scotland, and 2% Swedish.
It's 77% British and 23% Ireland and Scottish.
70% England, Wales and North Western Europe, but 30% Ireland and Scotland.
22% Norway.
Bit of everything there. There's 65% British and Northwestern Europe, 20% Irish and Scottish, 10% Norway, 3% Germany and 2% other.
Well, very much as expected. Related to Guy Fawkes. 59% Great Britain, 41% Ireland and Scotland. So I think that pans out rather, because I know my father's side came from Scotland.
Oh, but there's a difference. There's a difference. Oh. No, I am excited. I didn't know this. 89% British and European, 6% Irish and Scottish, 3% Norway, go on there, 2% Sweden. Didn't know that. Didn't have any idea. Oh, well. No, that's, yeah, mixed. I've got colours though, I've got colours, yeah, that'll do. I've got colours, yay.
If everybody went and actually did this, they could see that they're not just a white British person, and that they're not some sort of authority on how we should live, and that everybody is actually just a human being, and that we all have so many commonalities.
Everybody is from all over the world. There is no such thing as a pure blood British, pure Grimbarian, yellow belly, whatever you might think you are, you're not. You are from all over the world. And if it can just make you think like that a little bit about newcomers that are coming into our town, and they will have their heritage from all over the world. It could be from England as well. So all the DNAs are very similar. We're all humans. We're not British, we're not German, we're not Asian, we're human.
Just because we've lived in different parts of the globe, we might look a little different for one reason or another, but at the same time, we all reach back to being part of the same family.
The Equality Practice are also leading the project that will determine the future of the Grim and Havelock statue that used to stand outside the Grimsby Institute at Nuns Corner. The remains of the statue have been on display at the Turntable Gallery in Grimsby, and restoration will begin shortly. We may discover more about our Viking heritage in a new series of programmes starting on Channel 5 on Wednesday the 21st of June. Vikings, a violent battle, charts a bloody fight between the ailing King Ethelred and the teenage Danish Prince Canute, who had his sights set on the English throne. In the first episode, Dr. Zan van Telekan and archaeologist Rashta Dave investigate how the Viking forces prepared for invasion in Denmark before launching their terrifying attack on England.
Working in North East Lincolnshire, it's a great place to live.
And I think this area has got so much to offer.
This is a fantastic place to live, it's a fantastic place to visit, and it's a fantastic place to stay once you've got here. I know I'm one of those people that came here 30 years ago.
It's a very caring community. There are lots of organisations working together here.
I believe that we've got a huge amount of dialogue between all the organisations, which is certainly getting stronger and better.
All our clients are really friendly and they welcome everybody in their home with open arms.
A burgeoning town, an opportunity in terms of economic growth that is second to none in terms of our history. Lots of things are happening here. Come and live here, come and work here, come and stay here.
Retired trawlerman Martin Grant is the newest addition to the growing Heritage Channel team. Martin will be covering the many fascinating stories surrounding our rich fishing heritage.
So I shall be exploring all the connections between all the Scandinavian countries and our own place here, Grimsby. And it's an immense field, but it's there, and I shall be going down the roads. The history of the fish docks is something that in particular, and not just the fish docks, the royal docks as well, is a massive interest in Grimsby, and it's being revived at the moment. And I have lots and lots of connections between people. Our viewers, if you like, are going to have access to this, so they can follow us on a trail of just exactly where their parents, grandparents, etc., we all came from. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to be able to get out there and let people know that we are trying to record its living history, if you like, the heritage. I often sit there and think, if only you were there many years ago when my grandfather was alive. If we can record one or two of the stories, put them together, then it gives that to all the people, the families that are still left here as great memories of, well, some of the daring escapades, but also what a wonderful heritage we have in this area.
If you're interested in becoming a Heritage Channel correspondent like Martin, contact us at news@heritagechannel.uk. Work is continuing to restore the area of Grimsby Docks now known as the Casbah, as more and more buildings are brought back into use with support from North East Lincolnshire Council and heritage organisations like Historic England. Some are being developed for arts and cultural activities, others, like the old Peterson Smokehouse, have been purged and prepped so work can now begin on the next stage of renovation, bringing it back to its original use. Weelsby Woods in Grimsby is known as a favourite spot for families and dog walkers. But did you know about its fascinating history dating back to before the First World War?
Thousands of Grimbarians walk past this iconic lion every year to enjoy the peace and quiet of Weelsby Woods. But not everybody knows that this park has an unusual history. From witches to war camps, legendary soldiers to iconic sculptures. Want to find out more? Come on then. Join me for a walk through the history of Weelsby Woods. We start at the entrance of the park where the lion stands guard, but he wasn't always here. The iconic lions were sculpted by Richard Wynne in 1876, and unfortunately only one remains today. They were originally destined for the driveway of Thomas Campbell at his residence down Abbey Road. Weighing a whopping 3.5 tonnes each, the lions were admired by people all over Grimsby, and so much so that after Thomas Campbell's wife died in 1915, they were gifted to the Grimsby Borough. They had a brief stint at the Sutcliffe's Grimsby Zoo back in the 1930s, but when the Sutcliffes decided to emigrate to Australia, they made their final home here and have been standing guard for over 70 years. The people of Grimsby today know Weelsby Woods as a public park, but it hasn't always been a park. Where I'm standing right now used to be the location of a prisoner of war camp. Weelsby Camp started life as a training camp for troops in the First World War, but during the Second World War, its purpose changed. Italian prisoners of war brought over from the fighting in the Middle East were imprisoned here and used to work the land. Following the D-Day landings in 1944, the camp was also flooded with German prisoners. Over 100,000 prisoners of war were held in the UK, and Weelsby Camp was just one of hundreds. After the war had finished, the camp had changed once again, and this time it became home to a legendary troop of soldiers. The Polish Carpathian Lancers were formed in Syria, made up of 500 men who escaped Poland after the German invasion. Fighting on horseback, they were a crucial part of the war efforts in the Middle East. During their time in Italy, they fought in the gruelling Battle of Monte Cassino, which was devastating for the Allied forces, who lost 55,000 men. At the end of the war, the Lancers were settled here at the camp in Grimsby, and they were given two options: return back to Poland or remain here in the UK. And almost all of them decided to stay. After the war, the land was acquired by Fred Parks back in the 1940s. Fred Parks was chairman and managing director of the Boston Deep Sea Fishing and Ice Company. And in November 1950, he struck a deal with the Grimsby Council to give the people of Grimsby 126 acres of land. Weelsby Woods as we know it today was officially opened to the public in 1951. Further into the park, we find ourselves in the woods, which in recent years have generated their own myths and legends. And behind me is one legend, the Witch's Circle. After the park opened in 1951, rumours of a coven of witches surfaced in Grimsby. These witches would supposedly meet in the woods on Friday and Saturday nights to perform pagan witchcraft and animal sacrifice in the so-called Witch's Circle. Nobody knows how it got its name, though some say it was an old Anglo-Saxon burial mound. Whatever the truth is, Weelsby Woods has been part of Grimsby's folklore since the 1950s, and it'll continue to be part of it well into the future. So next time you're taking your dog for a walk in Weelsby Woods, just stop and consider where you are.
From Alex, Elise, Gemma, Hugh, John, Kirsty, Martin and all the team at the Heritage Channel, thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next month for more heritage news, views and local stories. The programmes on the Heritage Channel are made with support from the National Lottery Heritage Fund.